Alright, the morning is far too early for my taste. It's been an hour, but I still want to continue onward because I'm already engrossed in this. So maybe like 20 minutes or 30, I don't know. It doesn't help that I had trouble sleeping last night. There were simply too many things to think about. My mind refused to slow down. Instead, I replayed the rooftop of the park and everything else over and over in my mind. There is a small part of my mind that is still paranoid that this has all been some kind of joke. That I'll meet up with Emmy at the track and she'll act like nothing happened yesterday. Pushing these thoughts to the back of my mind, I throw on my running clothes and open the door. Emmy's waiting for me with her usual smile. You're late. Or at least you're not early today. Are you tired or something? I find myself ruefully rubbing the back of my head. Something like that, yeah. Lots to think about and all that. Emmy giggles at my mild understatement. Yeah, I didn't sleep that well either. I was actually glad you weren't early, cause I wasn't early either. I wonder if the same thing kept us awake. The image of her weeping face passes through my mind. What kept you up? Emmy's expression falters, but she quickly notices my curiosity and forces a smile. Nothing important. She's obviously not telling me something. The question is, should I press the issue? Something's clearly been bothering her for a while. I want to help her, but would it just come off as me being noisy? Being nosy, not noisy, fuck. She's got to know I care about her though. Are you sure? If something's bothering you, I'm here to help you sort it out. Emmy laughs then, but it's not her usual laugh. There's an edge to it that seems almost bitter. Sort it out? I'm not sure it can be sorted out, Hisayo. An almost grim smile crosses her lips. It's like a smile of resignation. I don't think you could help me anyway. That hurts. I don't want to say that it hurts to her, but it does. Doesn't she realize I want to be there for her when things go wrong? Well, I won't push you on the matter, but I'm here for you if you decide later that you'd like to talk about it. It might help. I can see the debate raging behind Emmy's eyes. It seems like she wants to tell me, but she's not sure whether or not she can. Hey, forget about it for now, okay? We've got running to do. The mention of running something that she can handle brings Emmy back to her usual self. Right. Hurry up and stretch it out, Hisayo. We've got to get moving. She takes off like a shot far quicker than I'm used to. Still, I try to keep pace with her, recklessly testing my limits. It gives me a feeling of freedom, like my heart is no longer important. I find myself wanting to laugh, filled with the feeling of moving beyond what I once called my boundaries. The nurse's warnings to not overdo things echo in my mind, and I disregard them. The feeling I have, this willingness to risk a heart attack for something so trivial as a morning run, feels out of character for me. But is it? Or rather, should it be? I've got a weak heart, sure. It'll never be capable of the kind of speed and endurance Emmy's capable of. Though I probably wouldn't be able to get that good even if I had a healthy heart. As we round the final bend, I feel my legs screaming in protest, but for the first time, I ignore them. I accelerate to finish at a sprint, nearly catching up to Emmy. That was never going to happen, of course. Still, I feel surprisingly good. Oh, sure, my legs feel like they're about to catch fire, and I'm having trouble staying upright. But there's been a shift of some sort today, and it's all thanks to the girl grinning at the finish line waiting for me. That felt a little faster than usual. My comment is met with a grin and a shrug. Can't have you think I was going to go soft on you now, can I? But you managed to handle it just fine. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Still feeling the high from the run and moved by a surge of gratitude, I seize Emmy in a hug. Thanks. Really, I'm not just saying that. I'm in your debt. Emmy seemed flustered by my words, squirming uncomfortably. Don't be silly, Hisayo. Someone had to haul you out here, didn't they? And it's not like you're not doing anything for me, right? I needed a running partner, remember? I shake my head, still pointedly not letting go of Emmy, who stops squirming and merely looks up at me with a quickly deepening blush that almost seems out of character. No, that's not true. You wanted a running partner, but you didn't need one. If I hadn't shown up the day after the festival, you would still run, right? But it doesn't work the other way around. I only managed to make it out a few times before the festival. And without you, I probably wouldn't have made it out at all after that. Emmy smiles at me and prods my chest with one finger. You are pretty lazy, Hisayo. Hey, I was giving you a compliment. Well, you're welcome, I guess. I'll pay you back somehow. Oh, well... That's not necessary, you know? I mean, I kinda like you, Hisayo. And being able to run with you in the mornings isn't exactly a bad idea. A bad ideal for me. A bad deal for me. I don't know why I thought it was ideal or idea. A bad deal for me either, so... For someone who gets so much praise, she seems unused to gratitude. Unused to gratitude, I don't know. I can't think of anything else to say, so we fall silent. I become aware of Emmy's breathing, of the dampness of her clothing, and of the scent of her. Coming off of anyone else, it would stink. Coming off of Emmy, it fits her in a way nothing else could. Her skin is cool, slick with sweat, and a breeze causes goosebumps to rise. Almost without thinking about it, I lean down and meet Emmy's mouth, which has already moved to meet my own. Her lips are soft and she hums happily as we kiss, sending vibrations from her mouth to mine. There is a startling rightness to everything about this moment. We fit one another perfectly. The kiss ends and I finally let my arms drop back to my sides. Emmy is smiling warmly at me and giggles again. Come on, Hisayo, we'd better go see the nurse. Then it happens. As she turns to begin walking, she gives out a tiny yelp and stumbles forward. Emmy. Oh, okay. That exclamation mark made me confused. It was an L, so I thought it said Emil for a sec. I'm sorry. I leap to steady her and notice with some concern that she's favoring the same leg as last night. Your leg? Emmy seems panicked and pushes away from me. It's fine. My expression must seem hurt because she hastens to apologize. Sorry. Didn't mean to push you like that. I was just... She stumbles for something to say. It's nothing, really. Hey, don't worry about it. She's so flustered I decide to shrug the whole thing off. But there's a cold feeling in the pit of my stomach now that it won't go away. I tried to step in and help her and she pushed me away. Smiling, I shove those thoughts to the back of my mind and concentrate on Emmy. I just don't want you getting hurt, that's all. You don't have to worry about me, honest. I'm fine. Yes, you say that, but I don't believe you. Why won't you tell me what's wrong? It's like she gets offended by my trying to help her. By me trying to help her. I don't know if my trying to help her is whatever. What am I supposed to make of that? I'm still trying to sort out what happened on the track as we arrive in front of the nurse's office. Emmy raises her hand to knock, hesitates and turns to me smiling guiltily. Hey, can you do me a favor? Of course. Can you tell the nurse that I'll see him later? Oh my god. I just remembered that I've got some stuff to take care of before class. So I really need to get moving. Yeah, don't listen to that. Tell the nurse honestly what's happening. I peer at her closely and she fidgets under my stare. Yeah, she's clearly just avoiding the nurse. That leg of hers. Well, whatever. I said I'd help, and so I will. But I'll make damn sure she sees the nurse before the day's out. Yeah, okay, I'll let him know. I mean, looks like I've just given her a pony on Christmas. Thank you so much. You're the best, Hisayo. I am rewarded for my complicity in her lie by a kiss that makes it all worth it, or so I tell myself. As Emmy heads out of the building, trying hard not to let her limp show, I knock on the door of the office. Ah, Hisayo, come on in. I don't see Emmy with you. She's not sick again, is she? From the tone of his voice, I don't think the nurse is expecting me to say, yes, she's ill. She said that she'd forgotten to do something and so she had to skip out, but she'll see you later today. The nurse heaves an exasperated sigh. Honestly, that girl. She's been avoiding me. Yesterday she was in and out of her without even taking off her prosthetics, and now this. Well, at least it's not just me, Emmy doesn't want worrying. That's a comfort, I guess. Still, I feel like I should say something about her leg. I said I'd lie for her, but she really needs to see him. Now that you mention it, she was limping pretty badly today. And last night as well. The nurse's eyes narrow at the words, last night. And what exactly were you two doing last night? We were, on a date. The nurse raises his eyebrows as if surprised. Really? Interesting. Huh? Oh, nothing. His gaze turns thoughtful and then he grins at me. You don't think you could use some of that boyfriend charm to get her to come see me today, could you? Of course. I was planning on doing that anyway. I think she's really hurt and just pretending she isn't. Yes, she does that. Afraid I'll make her stop running? Will you? I don't like to, but if it's bad enough that she's been limping, well, I guess I'll have to see what's wrong for myself before I make that call. I see. Emmy not allowed to run, perish the thought. I don't know if she'd be able to function without running. No wonder she's reluctant to admit anything's wrong. Well, I'll make sure she sees you. Good. Oh, and before I forget, he grins at me again in what feels like a vaguely threatening manner. Don't forget that I know what medications you're on. You be careful around Emmy, got it? Wow, he looks serious too. Got it? It's got it. I mean, Hisayo said that. Sorry. Don't hurt Emmy, wouldn't dream of it. Grand. I'd hate for you to be late. Huh? Late as in the late Hisayo and Nakai. He frowns briefly dissatisfied. Sounded better in my head. Well, at any rate, get out of here before you miss your first class. You've got things to do, I'm sure. Shoo. As I leave, I notice the nurse pulling out his phone and dialing a number. Maiko, your daughter's being a pain in the ass again. I better head back to my room or I really will be late. Hey, wasn't he supposed to check my heart rate? The lunch bell sounds and I bring myself out of the stupor I slipped into during the morning's classes. My lack of sleep last night, coupled with the increased pace of the morning's run, has left me a little exhausted. Despite that, I find myself skipping stairs up to the roof. There's a thrill of excitement now in addition to the pleasure one gets from eating lunch with one's friends. True, both Emmy and Rin are still my friends, but Emmy has become more than that now. Rin is back in her usual spot on the roof, almost as if she'd never been absent. Haha, look at her. Feeling better, I take it. I raised eyebrow is my reward for speaking. Better than what? Or better than you felt yesterday? It gives my question some serious thought. I'm not sure. I think I might have felt rather good for some of yesterday, but it's all fuzzy. Too much cold medicine? Well, I was asleep, and that usually is pretty good. But I can't remember what it feels like to be asleep because I'm not conscious for it. It's a real problem. Then again, if I knew how good it felt, I might not sleep anymore. But this way I keep trying, so I guess that's how I can keep from being overtired. An eternal mystery to keep you sleeping at night. Maybe mystery is the wrong word. Intangible might be the proper way to describe it. I see. No, I don't see at all. I have no idea what she's talking about, but that's okay since I rarely do. Do you remember what sleeping feels like? Like yesterday, do you remember what you felt like sleeping yesterday? Well, I actually didn't get a lot of sleep yesterday. Maybe that's because you remember subconsciously. Actually, I think I was worrying about Emmy. Doesn't Emmy worry enough about herself? I hadn't considered that, but it gives me pause. True, but she asked for help if she needed it. Rin frowns and I raise an eyebrow. Will I get the proper answer? Probably not. Is there something she should be asking for help with? Her leg, for starters. This seems to catch Rin's interest. Leg? It's hurt, but she won't see the nurse about it. Rin shakes her head in disapproval. You have to make her. Like she makes me go to class for her own good. Otherwise she could lose her legs again, and that's just too weird. Losing things twice? Especially if you don't find them again to begin with. Unless prosthetics are the same as finding something. But that's a different kind of loss, isn't it? I think so. I wonder. Wonder what? Oh god. Emmy seems to have snuck up on Rin and me, though Rin doesn't seem especially surprised, which is itself unsurprising, I suppose. Rin manages to sit herself upright quite expertly, throwing her upper body forward and using her momentum to right herself. Your leg, how's it feel? That earns me a frown and a bit of a glare. It's okay, I think. Not worth worrying about. Tell that to the nurse. He's quite insistent that you visit him, you know? Emmy pouts like I've just told her she's been grounded. He worries too much. It's not a big deal, it's just a little soreness. I try to resist rolling my eyes in exasperation. If it's nothing, then you should have no problem seeing him, right? Emmy narrows her eyes suspiciously. Did he put you up to this? Well, maybe a little. But that's not the point. I would have reminded you to see him anyway. I'm sorry if I'm sounding a bit stuffy. I don't know why my nose is like this. I'm not sick. It's just, after some time it becomes like that, so yeah. It would rather be terrible to see you really hurt and not doing anything about it. That would make it worse, and I don't really want to see you hurt, Call me crazy, but I kind of would prefer to see you happy and healthy. With each statement, Emmy's frown fades a little more until eventually she's grinning, albeit a little shyly. Well, if you're going to put it that way, then I guess I'll have to see him. Otherwise, I'll keep worrying, and then I'll never hear the end of it, right? That's right, I'll keep bugging you about it, and that might put a damper on our dates. How's the food, Hisayo? Talk to the nurse, Emmy? Wait, what is that supposed to be? How's the food, Hisayo? I think it's like a quote. I don't know. How was your day, Hisayo? Talk to the nurse, Emmy? Hisayo, I think I'm ready to go all the way. Talk to the nurse, Emmy? Oh, okay, I see. He's like joking around. See, it doesn't work that well. Emmy giggles at my high-pitched rendition of her own voice and gives me an affectionate shove. My voice isn't that high, jerk. I thought it was pretty accurate. Look at her. Oh my god, look. Emmy and I stare at Rin for a while before I burst into laughter. Emmy crosses her arms and huffs, mock offended. You're both jerks. Such vile calumnies from you, young woman. I'm stunned that you would call me, of all people, a jerk. Honestly, I don't know what to think. Emmy sticks her tongue out at me. You ass. So Rin, how's the art club these days? Rin, seemingly as surprised by this sudden change of topic as I am, takes a minute to think before answering. I believe it is okay. Although Nomiya keeps telling me to work harder. But I don't think he understands my methods. He always struck me as slightly creepy. Rin ponders this statement for a while. I've never really noticed. But I don't pay much attention to him most days, so maybe that's why. How often do you meet? Thinking of joining Hisayo? What? Nah, I've already decided to join a club. Really, which one? Well, it's not really much of a club to be honest. Oh, you joined the tea club? No, I joined the science club, I think. Emmy looks highly confused. We have a science club? Not really, it's just me. Hisayo, that's not a club, that's sitting in your room reading books. No, I mean it's just me and Mutao. I'm just the only student so far. Mutao, really? A thought strikes her. Oh, is that what you were talking about yesterday? You're meeting with Mutao? Yeah, that was our first meeting, I guess. Emmy giggles. Nerd. Hey, I can't help being clever. You know, I could have used your help years ago. You should have had your heart attack earlier in life, Hisayo. I laugh and then realize this is probably one of the very rare times I've laughed about my heart attack. Hindsight. Yeah. The ringing of the bell ends our conversation. I guess we'd better go. Yeah, I guess so. Come on, Rin, you too. Rin has apparently begun to doze off, so Emmy gives her a sharp bump. I almost had it. Sorry, but you need to go to class. I disagree, but maybe if I nap in class, I'll get it this time. Changing location is sometimes helpful for that kind of thing. Neither Emmy or I bother asking what it is. As we arrive at my classroom, Emmy gives me a quick kiss and heads down the hallway with Rin and Tao. I turn to enter the classroom to be met with the duo of Shizune and Misha. Misha seems to be fighting a losing battle to keep from breaking into a fit of giggles while she translates Shizune's latest rant. While we are pleased, nay thrilled, to see how well you've managed to make new friends and forge relationships, and with such a cutie too, Hee-chan. I think that last part was probably Misha. We nevertheless feel compelled to politely remind you that public displays of affection are strictly forbidden. Really, that's disappointing, Hee-chan, by Section 8 of the Code of Conduct laid out in a student handbook. Honestly, I know you guys may think I'm kind of conservative about this, but I'm kind of alright with it because... here's the thing. It kind of depends, really, because it's like, I don't, like, obviously if I were... Now, college, obviously, I don't really give a shit, because this is college. You can do whatever you want. But I'm talking about, like, high school and stuff. When I chose a private religious school to begin with, I chose it in the purpose of not seeing, like, people, like, kiss affectionately. Now, I mean deeply and stuff. Like, I just didn't want to see it because I feel like, I just feel like it's like flaunting your wealth in a way and stuff, you know? But the thing is, though, is that I don't mind if it's like one single pop kiss, you know? Because I have seen it done a few times at my high school, and honestly, I'm like okay with it because they do it like just like you know, quickly, you know. So, but I don't know how they do it here, but yeah, I'm just saying I agree with it. I mean, call me conservative and stuff. I just feel like it's better, like more considerate for others who just don't have what other people have, you know? So, but if it's out in public or out in college, I don't give a shit. You just walk the other way and ignore it. But it's just like a moral, ethical thing, kind of, you know what I'm saying? So. In this case, however, ignorance of the law may be your excuse as we are feeling lenient. And the paperwork required to punish the both of you would only add to the already monotonous volume of work which confronts us, the sole members of the student council. And besides, you two are adorable together. Therefore, consider this a formal warning, and please refrain from such displays in the future, at least when Shizune can see you, Hee-chan. This whole spiel is so patently ridiculous that I can't help but reply in the same pompous manner. Well, I for one feel enlightened. I apologize profusely for my rash actions and will strive to contain my baser impulses, which I fear impel me towards such inappropriate displays of public affection. It is hardly my wish to burden an already overworked student council with such petty matters, and will do my best to make your lives easier in this matter in the future. At least when Shizune's watching. This last line is delivering with a wink to Misha, who finally loses control of her laughter. Wahahaha! Well said, Hee-chan. Chuckling a little to myself, we enter the classroom. Class is uneventful, and after the final bell rings, I find myself alone with Matao again. So it looks like we've all assembled for the second meeting of the science club. Or is it the first? What do you think? Should we count yesterday as a meeting? Should we count yesterday as a meeting? Well, we did form the club yesterday, didn't we? That seems like club business, so we could safely call yesterday a meeting. Matao smiles in his usual stilted and awkward way. I wonder if the muscles in his face are just not shaped correctly to let him smile naturally. You really do have a knack for this, I think. Logical thought process, that is. I guess so. A scientist speaks with authority, Hisayo. The answer here is yes, I do. When the world wants to know how it works, we tell it, even if all we've got is a decent hypothesis. But we must sound certain anyway, because we're the authorities on the subject, right? He chuckles to go along with this awkward smile at his awkward joke. I'm doing my best not to grimace, but I don't think I'm being too successful. That's entirely false, of course. We know a lot, sure, but nobody's an expert on how the world works, if only because nobody can be sure with no certainty there are no experts. But we like to pretend sometimes. There's some things we can be certain of, right? Yes, but no. We know gravity's there, for example. To illustrate, Matao picks up a pencil and drops it. C's still there, but it's good to check every once in a while. That's why you'll still see researchers mucking about with gravity. We're pretty sure we know how it works, but there's always a chance that something isn't how we think it is. So you check and check and check. That's science in a nutshell, Hisayo. The whole time I've listened feeling rather spellbound. Matao seems to really be passionate about this stuff. I think it's hard to tell sometimes how the world works, how humans work, how the universe works. All these questions to be answered. And depending on what I go into, maybe I could even figure out a way to fix my heart. That said, I don't think that's a real priority for me. Besides, as we start discussing the book he gave me yesterday, I find myself more and more interested in that than my heart condition. Before we even realize it, an hour has gone by. Well, let's call this meeting over for now, okay? We'll have another meeting tomorrow, or the day after. He considers this for a moment. Call it the day after, I've got a lot of grading to do. Okay, see you then. As I exit the classroom, I realize that I don't really have anything to do tonight. Emmy and I didn't make plans, so I guess I'll go to the library. It beats doing homework in my room anyway. The library always seems cooler than the rest of the building. Probably to keep the books from getting damaged by excessive heat and humidity. Books are sturdy objects, but if you want to keep them in good condition, it takes a little effort. I've got several books that are so well worn the pages are barely clinging to the spine. It seems impossible for them to still be usable, but if you handle them with care. I make my way to the main desk where I spot Yuko busying herself with something or another. She smiles at me as I enter and waves. Hello, Hisayo. Good to see you again. What are you looking for this time? Nothing in particular, I guess. I just didn't really feel like going back to my room, is all. Yuko nods. Well, if you're unoccupied, maybe you could help me look for something. Sure, what do you need? Yuko brings a finger to her lips and looks around furtively. She seems to be looking for eavesdroppers. Come closer. I take a few hesitant steps forward while feeling distinctively unnerved. Yuko lowers her voice to a confidential whisper. I'm on the trial of the Yamaku cat burglar. Okay. The what? Shh, the walls have ears, Hisayo. Or they might. But listen, those missing books, remember them? Yeah. Well, they weren't missing, they were stolen. I'm convinced of it. I remember you saying something of the sort earlier, but how do you know? Yuko leans in closer and, if possible, whispers even lower. Because I found one of his hiding places. You did what? Yuko looks triumphant. Found one of his stashes. It was under one of the stairwells in the boys' dorm. 3 books I've been looking for, all there. I suspected a thief before, but this proves it. So did you take back the books? Yuko looks as if I've just suggested she walk around naked. Are you nuts? He can't know I'm onto him. He might go to ground and evade capture. So what do you need my help with then? Yuko casts another glance around the library and leans in closer. You've got to spy for me. Spy? Yeah, like when you're in the dorms, you know? Keep an eye out for suspicious activity. What constitutes suspicious anyway? I mean, Kenji's a pretty suspicious dude, but I'll wager he barely goes to class much, less sneaks into the library to pilfer books. I don't know why I was pronouncing it as pilfer or something, I don't know. I'm getting a little tired, that's why. Still, what's the harm in saying yes? At the least, it'll get me out of this weird conversation. Yeah, I can do that, no problem. Yuko straightens up and claps excitedly. Great. Now hurry up and talk about something else in case someone comes in. How's the school treating you? Pretty well, actually. I've been running in the mornings with Emi Ibarazaki, right? Yeah. How do you know? I served you two in the tea house, remember? Oh yeah. I deduced that if you were going to run with anyone, it would probably be her. She looks pleased with herself. Impressive. Anyway, yes, we've been running in the mornings. And we kinda started dating. Yuka claps their hands together excitedly. Really, that's great. I'll bet you two are great together. I love seeing people find one another like that, you know? I even thought to myself when you walked into the Shanghai that one time, I wonder if that kid will wind up with one of those girls. Really? Yuka doesn't seem to notice my somewhat weirded out tone and nods affirmatively. Yep, I could tell that you'd wind up with one of them, you know? I've got an eye for that sort of thing. Of course. Her expression dropped slightly. I'm not so good at it myself. I'm sure that's not true. Oh, it's true. I met this guy once. We got along really great, but it turned out he was younger than me. And that was kind of weird, but not terribly so. What was really weird was that he disappeared one day and I've not seen him since then. That does seem kind of odd. Doesn't it? I hope it wasn't something I did. I feel compelled to reassure her. I'm sure it wasn't. Oh god. I intend to try and calm her down further, but the both of us jump in surprise at the ringing suddenly coming from my pocket. I forgot that's actually his ringtone. Yuka sighs to steady herself as I pull the phone from my pocket. I feel a little sheepish for indirectly causing the incident. Emmy, what's up? Oh, thank God I haven't called your phone before, so I didn't know if this number would work or whether you would pick up and I can't. Oh there, Emmy, slow down. What's wrong? There's a pause on the other side of the line during which I can hear Emmy trying to control her breathing in order to calm down. Oh, the nurse probably told her she can't run anymore. Something's got her terribly agitated and it's starting to agitate me. Can you stop by? Like now or shortly after now? I really need to talk to you. There's a tone of pleading in the last sentence that I don't think I've ever heard from her. Of course, I'll be right there. Hold steady, okay? In my increasingly agitated state, I've apparently started saying things that don't quite make sense. Okay, I'll be okay. See you soon. I press the button to end the call before slipping the phone back into my pocket, apologizing to Yuko for running off and run off. Perhaps at some point I would have stopped to think about the time or how suspicious it looks for a guy to enter the girls' dorm room at this hour. Oh, sorry for the background. It's just an ambulance. Hold on. Okay, it's good. Except right now I'm just concerned with getting to Emmy and finding out what's wrong and how I can help her. I knock on the door and I'm greeted with a subdued "come in." Something is very wrong as I stare at the scene before me. Emmy's there, yes, but she's in a wheelchair, and her legs are missing. I glance around the room and see them sitting in a corner looking like they've been thrown there. Emmy responds to my entrance with a lopsided grin that is both pleased to see me and completely, utterly heartbroken. Hi, Asayo. It looks like she's been crying, but if she was, she's stopped now. I notice that I'm a little out of breath, having taken the stairs 2 at a time in order to get here. My heart doesn't seem to mind the strain, though. I fill this happy fact away for later consideration. Like when I am not staring somewhat dumbstruck at my girlfriend in a wheelchair. Realizing I still have not responded to her greeting, my brain lurches into gear. Emmy, what happened? Guess I should have listened to you, Asayo. My leg's got a nasty infection and I'm not allowed to run on it for at least a couple of weeks. She gives a bitter laugh that shouldn't be coming from her. Heh, I can't even walk on it. I could have used a crutch and keep one of my legs, but I didn't see the point. Why hop? You can't run on one leg. At least this way I can still, I don't know, roll fast or something? Yeah, that's good, right? My awkward attempt to look on the bright side seems appreciated, but not really effective. Emmy shrugs again. It's just kind of a nuisance. I mean, we can't even eat up on the roof now, no wheelchair access. Yeah, but that's not a big deal, right? I mean, we can still eat together, and that's the important thing. That lopsided grin again, it hurts to look at. I suppose so, yeah. But like I said, it's a nuisance. I mean, I haven't really used a wheelchair in. She thinks for a minute. Maybe 7 years, something like that anyway. A long time. I'm afraid I'm a bit out of practice. Well, fortunately, it's only temporary, right? Emmy nods. Oh yeah, of course. It's not like I've lost them permanently. But it's a pain in the ass all the time. I nod sympathetically. There's not much else I can do after that. What am I gonna do? Say I told you so? Although I did tell her to get that leg looked at. But by the time I noticed it was too late anyway. Do you need help with anything? Or that is, can I help with anything?